Good morning and welcome back to my global kitchen and to the fourth and final of our recipes for January. Now this month, as you probably recall, we've been focusing on fish and seafood. We've done recipes involving flatfish, shellfish, oily fish, and today we're going to use some simple whitefish and some fresh prawns to do a recipe which hails from India and which is a perfect example of both global cuisine and also of the use of local ingredients. This part of India was a colony of the Portugal Empire from the 1500s through in fact to the early 1960s, and one of the consequences of that was that the Portuguese traders were the very first to introduce ingredients such as tomatoes and chilies to the Indian subcontinent, ingredients which went on to be absolutely central to most Indian cuisine thereafter. But of course, long before the traders arrived, they already had access to the most wonderful fish from the Indian Ocean, and although we don't actually know where coconuts originated exactly, we do know probably it was in the Indo-Pacific area. So coconut was fairly well known for many centuries. So those of you who watched my original video about making British Indian curry may recall that onions and tomatoes were really the key ingredients in the sauce, the base sauce for most Indian curries. But this is an exception. Yes, there is some onion and some tomato in there, but the main ingredient in our sauce is going to be coconut. And what we're going to make is a Goan fish curry. So in addition to the fish, our onion, tomato and a little bit of chili, we have coconut milk and coconut cream. And another feature of Goan cuisine is its sweet and sour flavours. So for that we have vinegar and we have sugar. And then everything else really are the spices and condiments which go into the curry mix. Don't get too put off by that. When we come to prepare the ingredients, I'll show you a couple of shortcuts which mean you don't have to have access to all of these different herbs and spices. So let's get cracking. Quick check on the equipment and then we'll start our preparation. So the equipment we need today is a chopping board, a knife, a wooden spoon, a saucepan, a small mixing bowl, and optionally a grinder if you're going to grind your own spices. Okay, so I've cut up my fish into sort of bite-sized pieces, cut the prawns up as well. I've chopped up the onion and the chili, and I've chopped up the tomato. So they're all ready for when we go into the kitchen. So now I'm going to make the masala, which basically just means spice mix. And as I say, don't worry, there are quite a few other options if you don't have all the spices and you don't, like me, have a grinder. But what I'm going to do is take my 4 dry spices. So I've got some star anise, some cloves, and then I've got some cumin and coriander seeds, and I'm going to put them all into our little grinder here. And this will make a little bit of noise, so I can't talk over this. No, not too bad. Hopefully you can still hear me. So they're grinding down, and then I've also got chili and turmeric, which are my other spices, so that makes 6 spices in total. And I've also got here salt, sugar and a little corn flour. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So there's our ground spices. Now I'll add the others. Give that a little mix around. Now I'm going to add my garlic and ginger, and you could use powdered, or if you're really ambitious you could make your own garlic and ginger paste, but I find these tubes extremely useful. Mix that up a bit, and then the final ingredient in our masala is our vinegar to counteract the sugar. There we are, and what we now have is a masala paste of wonderful spices and condiments to go into our sauce. So the next step is off to the kitchen. Let's do a quick check on the ingredients. Our ingredients today then are around 300 grams of white fish fillet, 100 grams of fresh prawns, a tablespoon of vegetable oil, half a chopped onion, 1 chopped tomato, around 250 millilitres of tinned coconut milk, and a sachet of coconut cream, and 1 green chilli finely chopped. And then for the masala spice mix, we need ginger and garlic paste, cloves, coriander, cumin, star anise, turmeric and chili powder, and then also sugar, salt, a little corn flour and some vinegar. Okay, so here we have our onions and chilies, which I've just been frying off in a little oil for about 5 minutes. And now I'm going to add our masala mix. Not to waste any of it. Pour in there. And then just stir that around for a couple of minutes so that the smell, the aroma and the flavours of the spices start filling the kitchen. And then we add our chopped tomato. And we'll just cook that for 2 or 3 minutes again, just so that any water in the tomato evaporates. As I was saying earlier, you can do a lot more simple version of this. Firstly, using ground spices so that you don't have to use the grinder to grind down the seeds, but also effectively with those 6 spices I've got in here, you could substitute that for a generous teaspoon of curry powder and half a teaspoon of garam masala. So if you've got those 2 in your cupboard, you've got pretty much everything covered. It's maybe not quite as deep and rich as this homemade masala, but it'll still be a very tasty dish. So that's cooking. Now we're going to add our coconut milk. Give that a good shake. Mix it all up first. About 2/3 of the can equal that. And really that would be sufficient, but we do like ours extra coconutty and extra creamy and extra thick. So I add just one of these sachets of coconut cream to the mix as well, just to make it that much richer. And that's really it. We're just going to cook that now for 5 minutes or so, just so the coconut melts into the sauce. Let all the aromas mingle. And then essentially, when it's simmery, you just add your fish, pop it in, and it only needs about 5 or 6 minutes. Providing your mixture's simmering, just gently bubbly, and the fish and the prawns will cook in about 5 minutes or so. But ideally you put them in just before you're ready to eat. So ours will be eaten later, so I'm going to put my fish back in the fridge for now. And that's it, our Goan coconut curry. served with rice usually, or with some bread, and ready in 30 minutes. What could be easier? Thank you for watching. I hope you'll join me next week and next month when we will be going back to the Balkans and exploring the cuisine of Albania.